Hey, what's going on, champs? I'm Aaron Deliosa. Welcome to an Immigrant's Life podcast, my podcast about immigrants and immigration and everything in between. Thank you for listening and downloading the show, and thank you for supporting my dad.
Welcome back, Immigrant Nation. As always, thank you for joining me every week, whenever or wherever you're listening to this podcast. I'm grateful for your support and I appreciate you so much. As a reminder, if you have not officially joined the Immigrant Nation, I suggest for you to please click the subscribe button wherever you are listening to this podcast. You can also become a part of our community by visiting and following our social media accounts. Our username is at an immigrant's life, where you can see pictures, audio reels, and all the good stuff I post there. It is also there where you can contact me if you or someone you know is interested in appearing as a guest on the podcast, or you can send an email to @animagantslife@yahoo.com. Let's connect and let's tell your beautiful story. The business is done. Now, let's talk about this week's episode. This week's episode puts a spotlight on a former international student that managed to overcome and achieve a flourishing professional career in Canada despite facing challenges during her immigration journey. Her resilience and determination are truly commendable, making her story worth celebrating. She's an amazing individual that is definitely an inspiration to all future and even current international students and immigrants. So, I hope you enjoy this episode, and let's get to the point. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Today's guest is a digital marketing specialist that uniquely shares her journey as an immigrant in Canada while creating a charming life she loves. Everyone, please welcome Saloni Jain.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for the warm welcome.
Of course. Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. I've seen a lot of my creative friends being here and having a blast. So I'm hoping to have a blast too.
Oh, well, I'm gonna try. I'm sure you're gonna have a blast. I'm gonna try for you to enjoy it. I just love our conversation, and yeah, I mean, I've seen your account before, and I said I'm gonna invite her someday, and I don't know why. I get into this loop of like sometimes I forget. Something like, oh, why would I not invite her? You know, and then I forget. But again, I really appreciate that you accepted it.
Yeah, I know it can be, overwhelming sometimes. And then I know podcast, takes a lot of effort. Not that I've done it before, but, just seen the process. And I am a fan of podcasts. So yeah, I'm sure it must, take a lot of efforts. But I really appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you. Before we get into the nitty gritty, why don't you tell the Immigrant Nation where they can reach you or if you want to promote anything?
Yeah, I always, try to help immigrants because I have been an immigrant. I am actually an immigrant in this country, and I know sometimes, things get a little difficult. You feel directionless, you don't know what to do. I try to, reply to as many DMs as I can, sometimes reply to emails. But yeah, I think the best way to reach out to me is on my email ID, which is on my Instagram profile. And I'll try to reply to as many people as I can.
Yeah. What's your Instagram account if you want to say?
Yeah, it's SALONI. So triple I underscore JAIIN.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you have like what, like 48,000 followers?
Yeah, around that you could say.
How much DM do you get?
That's an interesting question. Honestly, I've lost track of it, and I actually really feel bad, when I cannot reply to people, but it is a little impossible to reply to so many people because I don't have a team, it's just me. So yeah, I've honestly lost a track of it.
That's why it makes me more appreciative that you replied to my message. I'm like, this woman's probably get easily 1,000 messages a day.
Yeah, and sometimes, you want to answer questions because sometimes these people have like really genuine and, important questions.
Mm.
But I'm like, even if I try and, by the time I get to bed, I'm not able to answer these questions.
But of course, you just get to whatever you can get. You're just like you said, you don't have a team. You do your best, and that's it.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
try to.
exactly. By the way, how was your visit to the old city, Quebec City?
Oh, Quebec City is amazing. So this was my second time to Quebec City, and I cannot get enough of it. Like every time I go and I'm like, okay, next time, I'm gonna go to some different city to explore, and then, well, I end up again being at Quebec City.
Yeah, it's very charming. It's. I love Quebec City. I've been there, I believe, 4 times. The last time was last year. We went, and like you said, every time you're like, I've seen everything, right? And then you're like, oh, I have not seen everything.
Yeah, I agree. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is gorgeous there. But I also like that they speak English more than French, which is so weird.
Well, I had a very different experience actually.
Tell me.
So I could see that people are understanding my English and also they knew English, but they were not ready to, reply to me in English. They were very, like I could see they were very proud of their French culture, their French language, and they did not want to speak English to me. I
Mm.
don't know what was the case, but I think, they're trying to promote more of their language and their culture, which is not wrong in a way, right?
Oh, of course, of course. Like, but what was I trying to say was because I'm from Montreal, right? And
Mhm.
here, like, let's say if you go to a fast food chain, they would say bonjour, hi, or sometimes they only say bonjour,
Yeah.
right, as a greeting, and they will speak French first. In Quebec City, you go and they speak English first, which is I find weird.
Oh, I heard a lot of bonjours and salut and and mercy. So merci. Sorry if I'm pronouncing
Oh,
that in
trust
a
me,
wrong.
I live in Montreal. I barely speak French.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because I have learned French in my school for 5 years. So from
Mm.
fifth grade to 10th grade, I had French in my school. So I was able to, figure out what they were saying, but I couldn't reply because, I was scared to
Yeah.
ruin the language or the accents. I was like just speaking in English, but the bonjours and the sava made them really happy.
Yes, it's always like that. Like you could go. I could probably go to India and try to say the language. I'm sure people will appreciate that. What matters is you show that you try.
Exactly. I think the efforts matter.
Exactly. Speaking of India, which part of India were you from?
I am from Mumbai, the city that never sleeps.
How was your life in India?
Oh my God. It was not at all like it is in Canada
Mm.
because I was like the spoiled child in India. I did not even know
Mm.
how to boil potatoes or like even make rice. I think till I was in 12th grade. I did not know how to cook.
Mm.
I had no responsibilities because I was like the loved daughter of my family, and
Yeah.
everyone was always there for me, even like there was a lot of house help. So I would say it was not at all like it is in Canada.
Mm. Were you the oldest child or the youngest?
The oldest, but yeah, I was the most pampered child, I could say.
You're the first one. I love that. But how old were you when you moved to Canada?
I was 20 years old.
20 years old. Okay. Were you working in India then, or were you still at school?
Yeah, so I was working, but not like I wouldn't say like very solid jobs, just like some jobs here and there. But like, so imagine I have worked and then I come to my home and I'll call my mom and I'll be like, please, just switch on the air conditioner, keep the food ready. And then everybody would be, oh my God, our child has worked so hard. What do you need? What can we do?
What a spoiled, rotten child.
And yeah, I mean, You can imagine how hard it might have been, or like difficult it might have been for me initially here.
Oh, yeah, I cannot imagine. I love that one of your posts, there was a story, you were looking at your routine while you're working as a sales rep. Can you tell the story?
Oh, yes. So what actually happened when I came here, I was in a state of mind, where I was like, oh, this is a new country. I'm going to explore stuff. I want to see how, everything goes here. And then 1 month into the country, and I saw all my friends and everybody was having a job. I'm like, what? All of you already started with a job? And I was like panicking because everybody around you is working and you're still using your GIC to, pay your bills. So I was like, today I'm gonna go and get a job. So I went to my college to get my resume printed because they, give you free prints. So I got my resume printed and I went like store to store, and I, asked if the manager was working, and I handed over my resumes. And like this, I um I landed a job at Winners. I'm sure you must be aware with
Yes.
that store. Yeah. So, and on the first day, they were like training me to become a cashier. And on the second day, my manager was sick. So I had to, handle the cash all on my own. And I was like, what is this loony toony? I was like giving extra money to people, taking extra money from people.
They didn't fire you?
They were like, okay, I think you need a little bit of more training. And one manager pulled me aside and she was, she drew all the coins for me on the paper. But by that time, I was panicking and I was like, maybe this is not the job for me. I cannot do this. But I was like, that's okay. Things happen. And, tomorrow we're going to start fresh and try to do everything properly. And then I got a call in the evening from one of my friends that, okay, I have a job. They need people right now. It's gonna pay you $20 per hour. And I'm like, what? Because I know all the students, mostly make minimum wage. That was the notion that time. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But she was like, wait, first hear me out, see what you gotta do, and then, make up your mind. And she told me that you have to be outdoors even in the winter.
Oh my
Like,
God.
okay. And then she was like, it's a shift of straight 12 hours. And even if you want to, go for a washroom break, you need to call your supervisor. They will come in about half an hour and then they will relieve you for the washroom break. Because it
No,
was
half an hour. It's happening now. It's either in my pants or somewhere else. You choose.
exactly. And in minus 30, you cannot wait for so long.
That's
But
so
and then
funny.
she was like, okay, and she was like, you have to be on the train platform, and
Okay.
because the trains in Ottawa are new, the trains have just started running here,
Okay.
and they just want to maintain the safety. So whenever you think
Mm.
it's safe for the train to leave the platform, indicate that to the driver by whistling. So they'll give you a whistle, and you just need to whistle twice,
Mm.
indicate that it's safe to go and you can take the train to the next station. But you
Wow.
know how immigrant mind works, and I was like, whatever it is, I am going to take up this job. It's $20 per hour.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love that you said when I see immigrants, they're saying like, oh, it's hard to find a job here. Like, no, you're just being picky. Like, okay, I understand if you're from India or whatever country you're from, and you're, let's say, I don't know, a manager of an office. Of course, you have that ego, right? You wanna get that same position, but as you know, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, so I feel like first of all, I think my main goal or aim was just to get my foot in the door. Like that's like I just want to enter the market, and then I know I have potential. I am going to crack it. I'm going to do something nice. But firstly, I just need to get my foot in the door. That's it.
100%. So you moved in Canada when you were 20 from Mumbai, which is a big, busy city, like you said, it never sleeps, to I
Yeah.
love Ottawa, but it's one of the most boring city in the world.
Well, I will not disagree,
Mm,
but I'll tell you a surprising thing.
mm.
in my first year when I landed in Ottawa, so my college was in Ottawa and I landed here.
Hmm.
And I was like, are there people here or it's just me in the city alone? Because I don't see anybody. As far as my vision goes, I cannot see people. What the hell is going on? I was like calling up everybody, can you please meet this way? I'm going to feel depressed in the beginning itself.
Hmm.
But you won't believe this. Right now, if you ask me to move to any other city, I cannot. I mean, I will if need be, but I cannot because I feel like Ottawa is a perfect balance of a city and a town. And
Yes.
when I say this to my friends are like, okay, we disown you right away because you are from Mumbai. You shouldn't be loving Ottawa at all. You should be in Toronto or, some happening city.
Yeah, but no, I 100% agree with you. Ottawa has that like, yeah, hustle and then chill as well. I loved it. I was in Ottawa with my family last year as well, and I was in love. I was even thinking of moving.
Interesting. But it's boring for sure. I cannot disagree to that.
It
You
was
just
funny. Sorry for cutting you off, but so we stayed in a hotel close to the Parliament, right?
Mhm.
In the main street of the bars and whatever. I forgot the name of the street. It's like one street over the in front of the Parliament.
Elgin Street?
I don't know, dude. Whatever
Okay.
the street is, okay.
Okay.
And we went to a restaurant to meet up with a friend, and then my family and I were coming home, and we're walking on that busy street. We come home and it was closed. It was like, I think it was like 10 p.m. Let's say, and it was empty. And my kids, because they're from Montreal, they're spoiled. Montreal, it only opens at 10 p.m. It's open all the time, but 10 p.m. is like when the party starts. And they're like,
Right.
Dad, why are there no people here? I was like, yeah, we're in Ottawa. They're like, why? I said, well, because, Ottawa's that. I couldn't explain it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would totally agree to that. And initially, this bothered me a lot,
Mm,
but now I'm so used to it. I go to Toronto, my office too in person sometimes, and
mm.
I stay there for 2 days, and I'm like, okay, I need to go back. I feel so exhausted. I've done nothing, but I think I just feel like very tired because of the vehicles I see, so many people that I see. I'm like, I need to go back to Ottawa right now for my sanity.
Yeah, 100%. I love going to the city, but I love my quiet space. You
Eh,
you mentioned that you have friends in Ottawa when you move. Um, were they the main reason why you chose Ottawa over other cities when you moved to Canada?
Sorry if I, said that I had friends when I moved here because
Mm.
I knew nobody in this
Oh.
l- leave city in this country. I
Mm.
knew nobody who could, help me out. And
Wow.
on the day when I was about to leave, my dad told me that, okay, I have found this friend of mine whose daughter is in Calgary. So maybe do you want to speak to her? And I'm
It's
like,
not even close.
I'm like, if she's going to be able to help me find an accommodation for sure.
Mm.
And then luckily she had a friend in Ottawa.
Mm.
Yeah, and then she called her friend and she's like, I have this family friend of mine
Mhm.
who is going to be in Ottawa. Can you help her out? And luckily, you wouldn't believe, fortunately, this guy was like, okay, if she has nobody, I can, go and meet her on the day she lands and, just
No.
see if she needs any help. And I was like, you are a savior.
Wow. Shout out. That's
He-
amazing. So did you settle with them or he just helped you find an apartment?
Oh, so this guy was living in an all guys home. So like all
Yeah.
males.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and I am from an Indian family, and my parents would never ever want me to live there. So, and I'll tell you one more interesting story. So I found this woman 1 month before I was going to land in Canada on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And then I spoke to her, and she was a nice lady, I could tell. She was ready to, give me a room in her place. And she said that, once you come here, I was like, I'm not going to pay the rent before I come there and see the place myself.
Mhm.
So she was like, okay, so the day you land, come to my place, see it, and then, pay me the first and the last month rent. And then if you want, you can stay with us. And I was like, perfect, because I'm not able to find an accommodation. I would love to not stay on the streets and stay with you. So then I went to her place and she was like, hi, we already gave the room to somebody else who gave me the advance payment yesterday.
Bro, what the?
Yeah, so on the day I land in this country, I just realized that I don't have any place to stay.
Oh my God. So what did you do?
So this guy came, and so the guy that I mentioned before, who was a friend of my family friend,
Mhm.
he came, and then he took me to a McDonald's, and he's like, okay, don't panic, we'll do something. He's like, I'll call my friend and see, if she has any place. And imagine who that friend turned out to be.
Ooh.
The same lady who gave the place to somebody else.
No way! That's amazing.
Oh, that wasn't amazing for me.
Well, I know, but like, I mean, Ottawa is a small city, but that is insane. So,
Yeah, exactly.
wait, by the way, before you continue the story, what month was that?
So it wasn't winter for sure. It was September.
Okay, you, thank God, eh?
Exactly. Now that I realize, I was like, thank God it wasn't winter.
So, so you found out that it was the same lady. What was the next step?
Oh, so Algonquin College is really, really, I would say, a very cool college because they gave all the international students 3 days in a hotel for staying and figuring out everything. So they paid for our accommodation for 3 days in this really nice hotel, and they assigned us a guy who would take us to get a new SIM card, to open up our checking accounts, and to get our GIC started and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, can you help me with accommodations? And he was like, yeah, I can help you with an accommodation. It's just $1,000 to 1,200 for a room. And I
Okay.
was like, what? In Ottawa, $1,000 for a room? And 4 years back, right? So I was sure that this is fishy, this is sketchy. He is not charging the right thing from me. So I was like, okay, no, I'm not renting out from you. And then again, I was like, okay, back to square one. I didn't know what to do. So there was this female staying with me in the same hotel
Wait,
because
wait. Sorry for cutting you off, but that night that you landed, you didn't have a place to stay at.
oh, as I said, our college gave us 3 days of free accommodation
Oh,
the day I
did
landed,
you know
right?
this? That they're gonna give that to you?
Yeah, I did assign
Okay.
myself for those services.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead
Yeah,
with
but
the female.
yeah, but you just know that you have a place for 3 days, right? If you have that in your mind that from the fourth day I'm going to be homeless on the streets, you will panic. So then this female, we both, she didn't have a place, I didn't have a place. So we both, decided to start looking for a place together. And then there was this woman, who said that, okay, we have a room in our place, but you guys will have to share it. And I was like, okay.
I'm from India. I got it. Don't worry.
So we went to her place, and then don't judge me, or I went to this place and it was so fucking dirty. No offense to that lady, she was working 24/7. She wanted to make a lot of money. I understand that because she was from a very humble background, but I couldn't stay in that place for sure. So I
You
took my
spoiled rotten brat.
so it wasn't like that, but it has to be like a little clean for me to be able to stay. So 3 bags of 23 kgs each, I took them on the road and I was like, I'm not staying here. I'm okay to be on the streets, but I am not living here. And till then, I did not know how to book an Uber. So even when we went to that place, which was dirty, my friend booked an Uber for us and we went there. So that lady was like, I am okay. If I might stay here. I'm like, okay, you can go ahead if you want to. And then I called this guy again, who was a friend of the family friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I am panicking now, what to do? So he's like, I am at work, don't worry, I'll be free by 6. Till then, you can go to Algonquin College, stay there. I mean, they won't stop you. You can keep your bags there, stay there, sit there, eat something if you're hungry, and don't worry, I'll be there by 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, but I don't know how to book an Uber. He's like, give me your address, I can try and help you. But till then, I just got a call from this same female, who said that, okay, I might stay here, I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, I have a friend who is looking for a roommate. So I was like, okay, okay, pass me the number. And then I was on the street, I spoke to her, and she's like, okay, I'm sending you the address, come here.
You're
So,
taking buses then, right?
yeah, because
Holy garbage.
So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try and get a bus. So she was like, okay, don't worry about it. I can, book a lift for you and then you can pay me later. So I'm like,
Wow.
that would be very nice of you. I really appreciate it. So she booked a lift for me. I put my stuff in the lift, went to that place, and then they were like, oh, the room is available from next month, so you can stay in our living room for a month. Like, what? But but by then I was like, okay, maybe this is it. I cannot, again and again trouble that friend, that new friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll just take up the living room, whatever it is, for 1 month now.
Living room.
I took up that living room, and guess what?
Mm.
We found out that that house had bed bugs.
Oh my God. What is going on with you, young lady?
Exactly. I was like, maybe this is not the country for me. And I called my mom, and she was like, oh, don't be a loser. Come on, we're from India. You can figure it out.
I love mom. Mom's the goat.
My mom is savage, I can tell you. She was like, oh, don't be a crybaby. Don't cry and call. Figure it out. You can do it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, if she's saying that I'm a strong lady, I might be strong. Maybe I'm a strong lady. And do you want to continue the story? Because this is a story of roller coaster, and this
Of
is
course,
gonna
I love it.
So in 1 month, my housemates, my roommates are telling me, oh, so the lease of the house is not renewed and we have to leave this house.
What the hell is going on?
Before you getting into a bedroom, like from living room to the bedroom of yours, we have to vacate this place. And I'm like, okay, where do we go from here? They are like, oh, we've decided to, all of us have decided to go our own way, and you will have to decide what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know how to get a house here. Like,
Wow.
and imagine what I was not able to find a room like with an existing lease. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to take up a lease in the second month of I being in Canada
By yourself.
by myself.
Holy crap.
Because because it was just 2 months, 1 month in Canada,
Mm.
I wasn't approved for a lease.
Of course, yeah. You don't have a credit account.
Yes. So in my previous house there was this female who was also looking for a place,
Mm.
and she was in Canada for 3 or 4 years, had a good paying job, and I was like, do you want to come and share this house with me?
Mm.
So she was like, probably, because I'm not getting a house. And so, but she was like, I cannot take the lease. I can help you. I can be a tenant of that place and show the income needed for us to get the lease, but you'll have to be the primary lease owner.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I have an option. Let's do it. Yeah, but then the happy thing started. This place was really nice. Everything
Mm.
worked out. This female whom I am referred to, agreed to move into that place with me, is like a really, really good friend, or I would say like a guiding light for me till date. We are in touch, everything worked out, and I have been in the same place for 3 or 8 months now.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you had time to get homesick, or you were so busy trying to survive?
Oh, there was no time, and there was no, I would say, there was no probability for me to become homesick because I was dealing with so much. And then within 1 month, that customer service representative job started on the train platform, like in the
Mm.
outdoors, and it was winter. So every day I was just layering up. I have no time to be homesick. I couldn't afford to be homesick.
I cannot afford to be home. I need to survive
Exactly.
because I'm not allowed to go back to India because my mom's gonna kill me.
Yeah, my mom is like, we've already put in a lot of our savings for your education. And then, okay, so this is one very different and interesting story.
Hmm.
I didn't know that I had to do 2 years of study to be able to get 3 years of work permit. My
Okay.
agent told me that you study for 1 year and you'll be fine. And dumb of me, I did not research enough and trusted him and thought that, okay, my parents are going to pay my fees for 1 year. Everything's going to be okay. Then I'll be on my way to become a permanent resident, then citizen, and I'll be fine. And here I go. Everybody's asking me, what have you done about your second program? Have you, started saving up? How are you going to pay your fees? Are your, parents going to send the money? I'm like, what? What is second program?
You
But
deserve it, you spoiled brat.
yeah, so once I came to know that, okay, I am on my own here. I don't want to, I don't want to burden my parents with, paying the second year fee
Mm.
because they hadn't taken any education loan for me to come here. They had put in all their savings.
Wow. Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah, so
That's amazing. You mentioned it earlier that you didn't know what was the next step because of the you just trusted this person. Your what was the word that you used?
yeah, the immigration agent.
Yeah. As you know, there's been a recent international student situation. What do you think about that? What do you think some of them really got scammed or some of them were just really trying to stay illegally?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that day I learned this lesson, and I have been telling this to my followers as well.
Hmm.
The immigration agent is always going to put his best interests forward, right? He
100%.
wants to make maximum commission. He so this is like, you always have to do your own research. I would always say I did that mistake once, and trust me, I have never trusted anybody else other than me for my so even for this permanent residency, I did not consult any immigration agent. I did the entire process on my own. Yeah, I was
100%.
like, I don't want to trust anybody because I have been scammed once. I want to trust only myself. And I, always did my own research through YouTube and, consulted friends who have got their permanent residency. So one of my friends paid like $2,000 to get his PR. We both applied at the same time. So, and then, I asked him, how was your experience like? He's like, he just sent me all the forms. I have to fill the forms and give it to him. He did nothing different. So I feel like I have wasted my $2,000. And I was like, thank God I did the process on my own. I did my own research. So this is for everybody listening. Please do your own research whenever you're doing anything related to immigration.
100%. 100%. Do you remember the moment when you realized, like, oh, this is where I belong in Canada?
Oh, so there have been several moments, I would say, but there was this one time, when I was going to this park and, uh, I was just like roaming in the park all by myself. And I had worn this like a cute dress. And then I sat somewhere. And then when I got up from there, my dress was torn a little bit. And I was like, okay, this is a little wardrobe malfunction, and I don't know what to do next. But then this couple saw me, and they figured out that I was trying to figure out what to do now.
Mhm.
So they actually came to me, and the female was like, okay, my husband can cover you up, and then we can try and figure out your dress. I'll just try and uh try and she had some safety pins. So she was
Mm.
like, okay, maybe we can figure this out. And I was like, what? You guys don't even know me. This is like an entire uh, different country, and you guys, like, we've never met, right?
Mhm.
And these guys are just trying to help me out, and I did not ask for help. They just saw me, they came to my rescue, and I was like, this country is not bad. Like, people here are helpful, and trust me, I've also met people who are not that helpful, but this country has welcomed me, I can just say that, with open arms.
Mm. How do you think that immigration has changed you?
So when I was coming in, so when I decided to come in 2019,
Mm.
I feel the process was a little easier and then not that competitive.
Mhm.
But right now, people are not getting jobs. People are not getting their study permits, like a lot of rejections.
Mhm.
I don't know, but it has become, like, for sure, little more difficult than it was back in 2019, I would say.
Mm. You said that you started loving cooking since you moved, like cooking for yourself, cooking at home.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you figure that out? Is it because, out of boredom, or because hey, it's expensive to eat outside?
Okay, so first things first, there was no time to get bored because I was always running here and there. But you
Mm-hmm.
know what I did initially? I actually so I'm a big fan of cottage cheese. It's called paneer in India. I
Mm.
love cottage cheese. So I used to get ready-made rotis. Rotis are like these flat breads that you eat with cottage curries. So these are like paneer curries that we make. So I used to get these ready-made packets, put them put them in the microwave, and it's ready to eat. For the first month, I was just doing that, like every day, fucking same meal. And one of my friends came to my place, and she was like, can we cook something? Do you have any ingredients at your place? And I was like, what ingredients? I just eat straight out of the microwave, right? So, so she was like, you don't cook? And then she cooked a meal for me. And I got so emotional. I was like, I'm having such a meal exactly after 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she was like, babe, you gotta cook. You're not gonna survive like this for sure. So the next day, I was like, can you come for groceries shopping with me? Because I don't know, what ingredients I need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, of course. And she came with me. We got some ingredients, but she was like, okay, now I have to go for my shift. So you have to figure out what you want to cook out of these ingredients that we brought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I called my mom, and she was giving me some vague instructions. I'm like, Mom, this is not working out. I cannot understand what you're saying, because she has been cooking for like 25 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was instructing me like I was a pro. So I was like, okay, this is not working.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, I was like, okay, let's try YouTube, because I've seen a lot of people, taking the help
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. And since that day, there is no turning back. Till date, I use YouTube to cook.
Of
But
course.
yeah, and I am a very picky eater. I will not eat anything that, like, okay, I ate from the microwave, but other than that, I'm a very picky eater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even you give me anything to eat, I won't eat until, it's of my own preference.
Okay. So, having said that, having you learning how to cook, teaching yourself how to cook, that you didn't expect that you will enjoy, having to move and allowing yourself to look back. Do you think the Saloni in India is the real Saloni, or did Canada allow you to free up the real Saloni?
Oh, the real Saloni is definitely back in India. That was the real Saloni. Because
Hmm.
even if you till date send me to India, I wouldn't like to do anything on my own. But 4 years here, I have, learned to do my own laundry, cooking, cleaning, earning for myself, paying my own bills. So I feel like I am proud of the version that I am.
Hmm.
Because when I see my even till date my mother pampering my brother because he does not even know how to make Maggie instant noodles. So I'm like, Mom, do you think it's time for him and you to change? And she's
Hmm.
like, okay, come on, you were like that too when you were staying with us.
Yeah, but you allow yourself to grow.
Because that's what needed to be in this country. And when I was moving here, I was like, okay, I have to do something big in this country, or else I'm not, going back. Until date, I haven't visited India. I was like, once I get my permanent residency, that is when I will visit my parents and India again.
Hmm. So, so you think the real Saloni is in India, and this is a different version of Saloni that lives
Yeah,
in.
this is a different version, and I would love to stay this way, but once in a while, I would love to go back to India, have my time where, there is a lot of house help, my
Hmm.
parents are around pampering me. But yeah,
Princess.
yes, the prince behavior, but I'm definitely, I cannot be that way for my entire life now. Like, this is, how I've programmed myself, and
Hmm.
yeah, I would say I would prefer that once in a while, but this is who I am now.
You prefer the Saloni in Canada.
Oh, yes, 100%. Not,
Hmm.
being dependent on everyone, carving your own way and path. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
you're amazing. So you mentioned that you got the PR, and I'm gonna assume that you're planning to stay in Canada.
Yes, I am planning to stay in Canada, but I am not sure if this is my final destination.
Hmm.
Maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, I, might move to a new country. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Why would you think you want to move?
So because I want my parents to be able to stay with me,
Hmm.
and because this country is so cold for 6 months, I don't think they'll be able to bear the cold weather, and I
Hmm.
don't want to put them through this. So the decision of moving to a new country where the weather is more suitable for them. But let's see where that goes, whatever makes more sense at that time.
Of course. I mean, you can move to Vancouver.
It's so expensive.
Oh, you telling me, homie? Let's change up the topic a little bit. Let's talk about your Instagram account. When and why did you start the Instagram account?
Oh, so this was during COVID.
Mm.
I had my job because it was considered an essential service. I still was doing, my part-time job. And one day I was, just going through Instagram in general to find, answers to questions about Canada that I had. Because it was almost, time to switch to a new program, like a second program. And I mean, I could have taken help of YouTube, but I just wanted to see what resources were there on Instagram. I wasn't able to find answers to my questions. And I was like, okay, this is a gap in the market for sure. Because if I'm not able to find resources, because I was there on Instagram for almost 2 hours and not able to find anything of, value. And I was like, okay, this is a gap. I always, had this thing where I wanted to start something of my own, but actually cater to a niche and, bridge that gap. And I was like, oh, that evening, it was there was this good sunset outside, and I asked my friend, I was like, do you mind coming with me and just, shoot something for 30 seconds? I promise it won't take much of your time. And they were like, okay, let's go. And I did not have a tripod or anything, but I had this iPhone of mine. I was like, you just hold the iPhone here. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. You don't move. And that reel I created, and second day when I woke up, it had 100K views.
Mm.
And I was like, what is this like? a glitch or something.
That's amazing.
And that journey started there. And then, yeah, there was no turning back then.
Yeah. Do you write your own script on your reels?
Oh, so as I said, I'm a team of one person. So I do the editing. I recently asked one of my cousins to help me with the editing, but he is in India. I am here. So to be able to coordinate is a difficult task because when I'm awake, he's asleep, and when he's awake, I am asleep.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, but other than that, everything is done on my own.
So when you post like immigration information or whatever information that you're gonna post, you make your own research. How do you make sure that it is accurate? And has it ever happened that you post something and it actually inaccurate?
Oh, so I'll answer the first question first.
Of course.
Yeah, I think the IRCC website, the IRCC
Hmm.
site is like the Bible, because whenever you refer to that, there are hardly any chances, for you to be able to go wrong. So I think but there have been instances, where I've heard that, oh, there's a new TR to PR stream coming, and that creator inside me wants to create content as soon as possible. And I'll just go and create content at that moment itself. And the next day when I woke up, I realized, oh, this is not on the IRCC website. This is on a website very similar to IRCC. So you know how, people want to create clickbait and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then my followers like, are you sure? Where did you find this information? We cannot find it. Can you guide us? And I was like, and I am very vocal about everything. If you have uh been following my journey on Instagram, I always try to share moments which are not so good as well, so that people know that not everything is going to be good and happy in Canada as an international student. So I, publicly announced that, oh, this was a wrong information from my side. Apologies for that. I try to do my best, but sometimes I can go wrong too. I'm a human. And people were like, we really appreciate you coming out in public and apologizing for something you did not do intentionally. So yeah, I have been wrong at times, and that's okay, right?
Of course, 100%. People make mistakes, man, all the time. That's how you grow, you
Yes.
know. So now, obviously, your Instagram account is very successful in a, like you said, the niche that you created. However, there are other accounts as well that does the same thing now. And of course, if you're in that niche, you pretty much post pretty much all the same thing almost. Have you been accused of being a copycat?
Oh man. Okay. So when I started creating content like this, trust me, there were a very handful of few creators creating content about being an international student in Canada. So this guy from Germany, I had posted this reel that how I got my first field job in Canada. This guy did not even change the text, the colors, everything, just replaced my face with his
No.
about Germany.
Wow.
And then there were so many other people because trust me, 4 years back, there were very few creators in this niche. And I would used to get so mad and then text them, put them on my story that, okay, this is not the right thing to do. But then over time, I realized that you cannot do anything about it until Instagram came up with this meta verified thing right now.
You mean
So
the blue sign?
so I had this list of people who were using my videos, like even my face.
Oh, wow.
So these fake accounts. So the day I got that meta verified, I I reported these accounts to Instagram, and guess what? All these accounts were taken down the next day.
Wow, that's amazing. How
Yeah.
did you get the blue sign?
Oh, so you pay for it.
Oh,
You do,
okay.
yeah, you like pay $20 per month for it. So there are two ways to get it. First of all, you can request for that, and if Instagram thinks that if your account is prominent and you know if they think that you are eligible to get a blue tick, they will give it to you organically.
Okay.
But that takes like a lot of time. And the where you pay for it, this is like very instant. You submit a proof of identity and then you pay for it. And there has been a lot of stuff around this, right? That if you should buy this blue tick or not. But I feel like my only intention to buy this was to take all the fake accounts down, because these fake accounts were scamming people and taking money from them.
100% for sure. What do you think makes you a successful Instagram influencer, if you allow me to say that?
Oh, I wouldn't say successful. I wouldn't say influencer. I've always wanted to be a content creator and create
Mm.
something that provides value. Right now I haven't, if you have noticed, I haven't been coming up with a lot of content recently
Hmm.
because I don't know, it's become, as you said, there have been so many creators in this niche right now, and everybody is, maybe coming up with the same content, and it's not a fault of ours because so right now this thing has come where H1B visa holders are given like permits in Canada. So it's not our fault, right? If this is the news, we are going to create content around the same news, all of us. So I feel like right now I'm rethinking my entire strategy, and I don't know, how I can make my account unique in this niche where, there have been so many creators. But I think initially what, gained a lot of traction on my account was I was speaking, of the reality. So one day, if I was fired from my job, I, said
God
this.
forbid.
So said this publicly that, okay, today I was fired. So recently, this really happened with me. Not exactly fired, but I caught myself in a lot of company politics and I had a very toxic manager.
Hmm.
So, and I did not have any other job lined up, but I was like, okay, I have to keep my mental health before anything else.
Of course.
I have to take care of my own self. And I was like, I had to leave that job. And it was, trust me, a very high paying job.
Hmm.
But one day I was like, in a random meeting, I told my manager, this is not what I had signed up for. I don't see a future for myself in this company. Unfortunately, I'll have to say bye.
Wow.
So
That's.
this story I shared on my Instagram, and I told people, that there are not all moments that are going to be happy in Canada. Sometimes, you
Hmm.
will have to go through these hard moments to be able to be where you want to be next. So I think
100%.
being my authentic self is one thing I would say has has ha kept my followers very happy.
Yeah, I mean 100%. That's what you have. That's what you have that no one will ever have. You,
Exactly.
you know. Were you ever discouraged in creating this account or anything else? And if so, how did it affect your creativity?
Oh, 100 times. Like people have always been telling me, oh, you're kind of a TikToker. Sometimes you're just dancing in front of the camera and stuff like that. But I was like, when I get these messages where, I can share screenshots with you where people saying that, okay, we show your reels to these females who are showing my reels to their parents, and they're like, okay, even if this woman can do it, we can do it too. Please trust us.
Hmm.
See how she's thriving there. And these messages make my day, and I'm like, okay, let's just stop myself let's not stop myself because of these one or two negative comments. Let's look at the positive side and how I'm positively influencing other people's lives.
100%. What's your mom and dad's opinion on your Instagram account? What you're trying to accomplish?
Oh, they are more excited than me for my Instagram account. They'll call me in the middle of the night and they're like, okay, we have some ideas, why don't you try this on your Instagram account?
No.
I would say that they are social media freaks. They love social media more than me.
That's amazing. I love it. Have you find your way to monetize the account? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I don't mind you asking at all. I have been getting a lot of collaborations, like brand collaborations, which has allowed me to, start a passive source of income for sure.
Nice.
But the one thing that I am facing a little difficulty in is there are these Instagram accounts that are asking me to promote their services,
Mm-hmm.
but in real life, I would never pay for their services. So I, have to say no to a lot of money sometimes, which I
Mm.
feel is okay because I don't want to take names, but this tax company, they were charging people, they were charging international students like $150 to file for their taxes. And
That's
when
expensive.
I know, right? And when I was a student, I paid $50, $60. So, and they were like, but we're going to pay you so much for creating content. I was like, no, I cannot do this to my audience because they really trust me, right?
Yeah. You're gonna ruin your credibility.
Exactly. And even credibility, but I just cannot play with anybody's trust. If they are putting that trust into me, I have to, create something valuable for them.
100%. When you post something, I see that you get like 100 or 1,000 and even million views. Are the likes and the views addictive for you?
Um, at a point of time, they are. I would say they definitely are. You get in this games of numbers, and even in competition, like, oh, this creator got so much, this creator got so much, and I went into that loophole. Uh, I wouldn't say that I've never been in that competition,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not good, it's not providing any value to anybody. So I have stopped. I would refresh every minute. Oh, how many views, how many likes. But now I'm trying to get away from that. I At the end of the day, I have this thing in my mind. I just have to provide value. Forget
Mm.
numbers. I want to get out of that competition.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But how do you do it? Like, do you meditate or do you pray to calm yourself or like find that peace that it's okay, let it go?
Yeah. So I have, as you said, I've tried meditating, and I think I'll have to work myself more to be able to meditate, because I close my eyes for 2 minutes. I'm like, it's been 2 hours now. Enough of meditation for me. So I think one thing I've started is I have started enrolling myself into different courses,
Mm.
like short programs about investing, about digital marketing. So I do these certifications whenever I have time. I'm like, I'm not going to scroll on Instagram and see other creators' accounts and how their content is performing. In this extra time, I'm going to utilize for myself and upskilling myself.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. What is the thing you are the most proudest of so far?
I would say just taking that leap of faith and deciding to come to Canada, because that was like a turning point.
Mm.
I think I wasn't fully even ready to move to this country, but I had, already said that to my parents that I want to move. And I thought that, they wouldn't support me and I'll just be in India. But to my surprise, they fully supported me. And I was like, okay, now they're supporting me. I think I will have to move to Canada now.
You have no choice now.
Yeah, there's no turning back. So I think that leap of faith was the turning point in my life, and I'm most proud about.
Mm-hmm. What do you wish someone had told you about immigrating?
Oh, definitely the point where, I had to do 2 years of study to be able to be able to have 3 years of work permit, because my program's fees was around $18,000. And I was like, okay, while working part-time, I need to save $18,000. So I would have been more prepared, but I don't regret it, because that put me in a spot where I had to it was like do or die situation.
Mm.
I'm glad I was able to save up by working hard and my parents were more proud about that, even more than the decision of me to come here. They were like, if you didn't know about that and still you were able to pay that fees on your own, they were very proud of me, and that is one of the moments I saw tears in my parents' eyes.
Do you think you're successful?
Well, it depends on your definition of successful, but in my definition, I think I've totally come out of my comfort zone, done things that I would have never imagined I would, and I'm definitely a better version of myself than I was 4 years back, or I have been constantly improving. I can see that self-improvement, and in that terms, I would definitely say that I am a successful immigrant.
Hells yeah, dude. You came here. You don't even have a house to stay at. And look at you now, killing it.
Well, that's wild to hear, right?
Yeah, I mean, it should be. We recording this just after Canada Day, and like, I don't know about you, but I'm really grateful to Canada.
Oh, dude, I feel like I don't know. I'm going to say something in Hindi, which you might not understand, but I'll explain it to you after I say it.
Of course.
Yeah, so India, like Bharat, मेरी जन्म भूमि है, and Canada, मेरी कर्म भूमि है. So what that means is my birthplace is India, but all the things that I have done, the land is Canada, where I have evolved, I have improved. So birthplace is India, and all the good things, great things that I want to achieve, Canada will always be the country that provided me a platform for.
Hells yeah. That's beautiful. If you could do everything again, would you immigrate earlier?
Um, I don't think so because I have put in a lot of research in this, and I have spoken to a lot of people who came here after the 12th grade. And for them, sometimes, people are very mature and they thrive, but you know how it is after 12th grade, right? You are just young, wild, you want to do everything that is possible. And then, so I think I've immigrated at the perfect time, at least for myself.
Of course, 100%. I think we're getting there. Let's close it out with this question, if you don't mind.
Oh, for sure. I really, had such a great time. I feel like we could go on for hours and hours, but I'm sure, you must have different commitments and it is a holiday. You want to spend family time as well.
Of course. Let's close out with this question. For people that is planning on immigrating or migrating, what would you tell them to expect and what advice would you give them?
Oh, so if you think that you're gonna come here, uh, party every day, hang out with your friends, go to different clubs, bars, restaurants, let me tell you that that is not true. There are going to be days when everything is going to seem very difficult. You will have second thoughts about returning to your own country, returning to your comfort zone. But you have to fight all your demons. Just, keep going. That's what I say to even all my followers on Instagram. Like, just keep going. That one moment where, you have second thoughts, just, get past that because that's one moment you have to survive. But if you keep going, you are going to go to great heights and you're going to have a successful life or career in Canada. So don't give up, keep going.
Amazing. Before we close out, any last remarks?
I would just like to say that this was an amazing podcast. I went on a flashback journey, and yeah, you're doing amazing work. Keep going.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Saloni. Again, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I love your Indian background. Like I I noticed it earlier. I just forgot to mention.
Of course, I appreciate that you did.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. And yeah,
You,
let's keep in touch.
of course, you too. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you again, Saloni, for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, listeners, for listening. This is Aaron Deliosa for An Immigrant's Life. I'll see you guys later.